It's easy to sometimes feel like the Bay Area is just this extremely wealthy place. There are enormous pockets of poverty.
It's hard because you should have the right to feel safe. Sometimes it's not like that around here.
There's a tremendous wealth gap. So you have people that are doing very well and then people that aren't doing very well.
We experienced a lot at a very young age. We saw a lot of things that normal kids are not supposed to see.
Zip code shouldn't determine whether or not a kid gets the chance to change. These are our kids.
Running a nonprofit in the Bay Area, even with the amount of wealth, is still a really hard job.
The Bay Area is rich in nonprofits, and so we do end up vying for the same dollars. We're running a marathon that has no end. There's always more demand than we have resources to accommodate.
It's challenging. We're in a competitive market like in other industries, and the need is great. And so as we try to serve more young people, we have to raise more money.
There are kids who have so much potential and just need someone who believes in them and someone who will give them an opportunity.
I remember distinctly when I started to hear about this Super Bowl being the most charitable Super Bowl in history. Then as I began to understand that there were going to be these huge grant opportunities in the form of game changer grants of $500,000 of unrestricted money, then I really began to get excited about it.
Wow, they're willing to use unrestricted money of this size for this kind of philanthropy for our kids. This is incredible. We've got to go for it. We had a board meeting a few days before we found out, and we had a slide, and it was long shot grants. And we said, it's not exactly a Hail Mary, but it's a long shot, so we can't count on it, but wow, would this be an amazing way to activate some of our work.
The Super Bowl is an institution unto itself. It's such an important part of the fabric of this country. This opportunity is as much about nonprofit work and giving back to the community as it is about a sporting event. And when has that ever been true?
Youth voice matters, and that is the heart and soul of Fly. I witnessed, I believe I was 8 years old, and my sister was about 4 or 5 or so, and he was so drunk and so high off drugs that him and my mom were fighting, and he put a knife against her throat and said, "I'm gonna kill you and I'm gonna kill this whole family." I just remember me and my sister, we ran for our lives, and he ran up those stairs, chased us, knocked on the door and kept pounding, "Open the door or I'm gonna kill this family." My life consisted of drugs, gangbanging, getting in trouble, cutting class, barely going to school. I had 3 felonies. I just wanted to explode. I didn't care about anyone or anything. I was very self-destructive.
FLY stands for Fresh Lifelines for Youth, and we believe that all our children deserve a chance to become more than their past mistakes. But sadly, kids in the juvenile justice system often don't get that chance. They don't have the knowledge or the skill or support they need to lead healthy and productive lives. In fact, many of them say by the time they're 18, they think they'll be dead or in prison.
Fly came into my life in a very annoying way. They will knock on your door. They will go to your school.
I had a youth once say to me, "Did you pick the Fly name on purpose because flies are so annoying and they buzz around and you swat at them and they never go away?" And I had never thought about that, but I was like, oh, that's actually a pretty good analogy. So what is beautiful about legal education is it captures our young people's attention. Most 16-year-olds, if you say, "Hey, you got an anger management problem, you want to go talk about it or work on it?" you might get an expletive, "I don't have a problem with anger management." But if it's, "Hey, I know that tomorrow you're going to have to go to court and deal with the judge or the probation officer. You do want to know how to handle that situation." "Oh, yeah, tell me." So when we teach kids about the law to help them understand the process and the system and how it works and the consequences and their rights and responsibilities, it's all critical. And we can use that as an opportunity to build those skills in anger management, problem solving, conflict resolution. And our kids can see that they have potential and they have strengths. And then that can start a whole transformation process.
I felt so much power, so much people believing in me. I was like, I can do more than this. I can give back.
It is such an honor to be a part of such inspiring life journeys. Year after year in all of our programs, over 80% of our kids report they're inspired to change, they've built their skills and confidence to make change possible, they're resisting negative peer pressure, they're less likely to break the law. And year after year, consistently, over 70% of our kids are not convicted of a criminal charge during the program year. And we do it all for less than a tenth of the cost of incarceration.
I graduated as a junior from high school, and then after that I went to Unitech College. Right before I turned 18, I graduated Unitech College as a valedictorian with a 4.0 GPA. And at the age of 18, I got an externship at Kaiser Permanente, and then I became the youngest member of the Peninsula Lions Club. Why? Because Fly helped me. Fly gave me those skills. Fly helped me do job interviews, how to dress myself, how to prep myself. They were like a role model that I never had.
I was born in El Salvador. I came here when I was 7. When I was in elementary school, and my dad was helping me get ready for school, and I looked at his hands, and they were all, like scratched up, and they had calluses, and I was like, why are your hands like this? And he's like, well, I have to work, that was kind of like the point where I was like, right, my dad has to work. As a kid, you don't usually think about the sacrifices they put in for you, and then we were lacking money. My mom also had to get a job, and she wasn't home, so I was coming back from school to make food, and I was helping her with her homework, even though I sometimes didn't understand my own homework.
Would you like your receipt today?
It showed me that it's not easy, and it's not easy for my parents, and it wasn't going to be easy for me when I grew up.
Juma is a nonprofit organization that operates a unique social enterprise model. We're working with at-risk high school youth and helping them to pave the way towards education, financial capability, and work. You can see Juma youth working in stadiums in Oakland, San Francisco, Santa Clara.
When I first started Juma, I was struggling with depression and anxiety. It was hard to wake up in the morning, and it was definitely really hard to when you had to do presentations in class or even taking a test. It's those things that nobody really notices, but they really impact your everyday life. And changing that aspect of myself was just so life-changing. I had a better time in school. I actually wanted to go to class, and I started doing my homework.
25, 30, 35, 40.
We all get excited when we talk about money. So that was kind of the thing that got my attention. It was just, the job part. But then she also talked about how, they helped you with in college and, helped you strive forward. I definitely noticed that it was professional. You didn't just walk in and say, I want to be part of this. You had to go through the interview process, and you had to fill out an application. They teach you to be the professional that you're going to have to be when you actually graduate from college and go and find a job.
Thank you. Enjoy your game.
We believe that in order to break the cycle of poverty, a college education is a great means to do that.
Are we done with
As they
orders?
further their education, the likelihood of them breaking out of intergenerational poverty is greatly increased.
Great.
There's a difference between equality and equal opportunity.
21s?
We have the right to an equal life. We don't necessarily have the opportunity to make ourselves equal.
About 60% of the young people that start with us and go through college are actually graduating. And that's significantly higher than their peer group of low-income young people that would be the first in their family to go to college. It's about 15% nationally.
Right, 30?
As an immigrant, I always thought that there wasn't that much economic help for me for college, but Juma showed us that we can still apply for scholarships, and there's definitely other things that are going to help us out there, and that we're not alone in the college careers.
It was really difficult being in an environment that was very
aggressive. I was always in a group home. It's kind of like being like in a jail, you know? You don't have a say in when you get to eat or what you get to eat. You don't even get to wash your own clothes. You're no longer a kid in that environment, you know? You're treated as something else, like not even just an innocent child anymore. You're seen as a problem.
First Place is an organization that provides support for young people who are transitioning out of foster care. What we do is we try to help them have a soft landing from foster care to actually move into being responsible adults in our society. What these young people need is an opportunity. There was a time in my young adult life around the same time as these young people where I was homeless and trying to actually get assistance. And so it was key people in the community that actually gave me that support and became my surrogate parents at that time.
My living situation was horrible. I didn't feel safe at home. A friend of mine had told me about First Place for Youth. At first, to be honest, I thought it was too good to be true, you know, to have a home of my own.
We're creating a real contract with them, and that contract is that, look, we're actually going to take care of your rent. What we expect back in the payment of the rent is that you actually participate in the program and do your darnest to increase your education, to gain marketable skills so that when we leave, you can actually take over this apartment.
I was struggling in school, and First Place for Youth, they also helped, you know, like help me with those little things like kitchen supplies or, you know, toilet paper. It was so weird. I didn't know what to shop for. I had never had to shop for those things. But I had my youth advocate come with me, and she helped me buy all the essentials for my new apartment. They helped me keep a budget. I was able to pay my rent, all of my bills, and still, you know, provide for myself. That was something I never had done before. But they took the time to help me understand how important managing my money was.
Education has the ability, regardless of where you come from, to level the playing field. That it is something that no one can ever take away from you. Based on our historical data, I think around the country, only about 3% of young people who transition out of foster care actually end up enrolling in post-secondary education. Well, at First Place, we have over 80% of young people who actually enroll. And we don't stop there. We support them until they're actually finishing some of their college courses.
First Place, they offered me a home. You know, they did everything they could to make my living situation home to me. So after that, I was able to go back to school and graduate. I'm the first person in my family to graduate.
My dad does irrigation for a lot of wineries. He works in the fields in Napa Valley. He constantly reminds me of how important education is. He constantly tells me, make sure you get a good education so you won't be in the fields here with me. It's really tough out here, so I really hope you get an education out there.
Summer Search is a national youth-serving nonprofit. We work in 7 cities across the country, and we serve low-income high school students and ensure they can get to and through college and give back to their communities. What makes Summer Search different is we stick with students all the way from sophomore year in high school through a bachelor's degree, 6 years past high school graduation. The second thing that makes us really different is we're not just about college, we're about college and leadership. We expect our young people to give back to their families and communities and create a profound ripple effect of positive change.
Summer Search has really been a real impact on my life. I first heard it from my AVID teacher back when I went to high school. It's a program where they really emphasize on self-independence and just motivation to get to college. The idea of traveling, going to wilderness trips and traveling somewhere around the world to do community service what really caught my attention. I went to Costa Rica and did community service there. I built a playground for a school, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I never really had an idea of how hard my dad worked. And when I went to Costa Rica and built that playground in the hot sun, I called my dad that same day, Dad, it's so hard out here. I finally understand how it must be for you to work. Like, I really appreciate all that you do for me.
We've served over 5,700 high school and college students. We are able to show that 99% of them graduate high school, over 90% matriculate to college, and then 70% plus will get a bachelor's degree within 6 years of high school graduation.
Yeah, I'm the first one in my family to go to college, and it's really neat because I'm the oldest one in my family. Like, everybody constantly looks at me as a role model, and it's just like trying to keep that leadership really inspires me to make sure not just like my family, but all my friends and family also like find some motivation in what I'm doing.
It's hard because really you don't know what's gonna happen when you wake up in the morning. You don't feel safe like going out to your own community and like later on finding out that night that somebody was found dead. It's like really shocking because you were like, that could have been me.
Kenya is a sophomore, and I think her experience and her story bears a lot of the same characteristics that many of our students face. Unfortunately, our youth now are seeing lots of violence in their communities.
I was like trying to find a way to like get rid of like that kind of violence around here because you should have the right to feel safe.
La Clínica is a federally qualified health center. We serve over 100,000 patients across 3 counties, Alameda, Contra Costa, and Solano counties. We have a staff of about 1,200, and we provide the full gamut of healthcare services. So everything from prenatal care, pediatrics, of course, family medicine, but also we're big dental providers, mental health providers, as well as health education, nutrition, and community outreach. And our goal is to have people access services at the most appropriate way, in the most appropriate level. What we know about school-based health centers is that they fill such an important need in the schools, and these are people that are skilled in trauma-informed therapy and are able to guide our students who use our services when they're facing difficulties either at home or in school or just in the community in general.
It makes me feel good because I know that I have someone that supports me and that cares about what's going on in my life. They're like my second mom, I guess. Like every day, like you come in here, they like ask you how you're doing. If you're bad, they like take you to the side and ask you what's going on, or if they could do something to help you. Like they don't let you go out without talking about it. Like you have to tell them what's wrong.
When we do our job right, we are able to decrease absenteeism, and that means more dollars for our schools. We know that students who use our school-based health centers have less disciplinary actions, they have higher GPAs, and so many more of them end up going to college.
People here are like really welcoming, and like I think this clinic is what's keeping people together. I feel safe. I feel like there's a lot of people around here that cares for us and that hope to see us do good in the future.
So what was great about the Game Changer grant, since it's general operating and you have this ability, is we have been able to position it to help us achieve some of our really important goals, like expanding some of our services in San Mateo County, deepening our work in Santa Clara County, and launching our new site in Alameda County, which has just been so thrilling and so invigorating. And the Game Changer grant is giving us the seed money to do that.
The dollars actually helped us begin to expand into Santa Clara County. With that expansion into Santa Clara County, not only will we serve young people this year, but we're actually planting the seeds to serve young people next year, in the year after, in the year after, in the year after. It is really like the gift that will continue to keep giving.
What it means for us is more young people served. It's so important that we better serve our young Black and Latino males. It's a priority for Summer Search. When I joined Summer Search, about 1 in 3 of our students was male. Now it's almost 1 in 2. These are young men who have huge potential, who have big dreams, and there are a lot of systemic barriers in their way, as well as internal barriers. So we're going deeper in Silicon Valley, deeper in Oakland and Richmond, deeper in the North Bay, deeper in San Francisco. We have a hand across the Bay Area, and what it's allowing us to do is just set more ambitious student enrollment targets year over year. And it's so interesting, the perception again of these different communities. Oh, Napa, everyone owns a winery and they're super wealthy. There are enormous amounts of folks in Napa who actually are really struggling. And that service area for us is really important. It's our only sort of rural site, so it gives us an opportunity to show that our model works with different kinds of kids and in different kinds of communities.
The $500,000 has been divided over 2 years, and so the first pool of funds has been really focused on our expansion efforts in the South Bay, in Silicon Valley, and Santa Clara, and the stadium, Levi Stadium. So we've grown the number of young people that we've been able to employ nearly double. And just the recognition of being one of 5 recipients kind of gives you like a golden stamp of approval from an outside entity that you must be doing good work in an area where there's about 5,000 nonprofits. For you to be selected among a very select group, it's pretty amazing.
The Game Changer funds allowed us to move from consultants to regular staff, and we were able to hire 8 behaviorists who are now providing direct services at the school-based health centers. They've already seen almost 800 students that previously were unknown to our system, and the use of these dollars has been a game changer.
We're an organization that says say thank you 7 times. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. We're really grateful.
The way San Francisco is setting up its host Super Bowl with adding this philanthropic support will actually begin to be the way that others across the country will actually set up their Super Bowl and how they're thinking about spending their dollars as well. That it doesn't have to be just a game, that it can have a tremendous impact on a whole region and a whole community.
To be a part of the most philanthropic sporting event in the world is a huge honor, knowing that it's about a much bigger mission to create a new standard for philanthropy. It's funny, I was a college athlete, so I love athletics, I love teams, I love football. But what I love the most about it is the sense of team. Somebody always has your back. Somebody's there to pick you up when you fall, to push you harder, to look in your eyes when the chips are down and say that we're going to do it and we're going to do it together. Our kids have often been through so much and had so many difficult situations that they're going to put up a bunch of walls and barriers, and it's our job to continue to love unconditionally, to show a better way, to hold them to high expectations, and with that, transformation can happen.
So I'm going to fulfill my dream of becoming a registered nurse.
When I grow up, I hope to keep myself healthy, have a job that provides me to travel, because I want to expand my territory and go.
I'm planning on going into medicine. I want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon.
I want to gain more experience working. Afterwards, I'm hoping to go back to school, get my master's.
I feel like my role in here is to not just have my younger siblings follow my same path to success, but also a better one if they can.
My past does not define me. I'm going to grow up, and I'm growing up right now. And I'm going to be someone bigger and better